I need to say this carefully because this is not about fear, superstition, or chasing signs. February 8 is not loud. That's what makes it dangerous for people who don't understand how pressure actually moves. When I was deep inside witchcraft, we didn't rely on dramatic nights all the time. We used quiet windows, nights where nothing obvious happened, but something subtle shifted. No chaos, no panic, just a strange heaviness, a dullness, a pull inward that people couldn't explain. And February 8 was one of those nights, not because it's evil, not because of astrology, not because of a ritual calendar you'd recognize, but because it functioned as a follow-up window. In the occult, after heavier pressure windows passed, we watched for who stabilized and who didn't. February 8 wasn't about attacking new people. It was about checking reactions in those who were already moving forward. That's why this night doesn't feel dramatic. It feels off. You might notice the unexplained tiredness, the emotional flatness, a difficulty focusing, a urge to delay decisions, a subtle irritation without cause. And most people ignore that because it doesn't feel spiritual. That's the mistake. Because pressure that wants to stop momentum doesn't come loud. It comes quiet and reasonable. I'm not here to tell you to panic. I'm here to tell you not to dismiss clarity. This message is for people who are already aligned, already moving, already past old cycles, and suddenly feel slightly off for no clear reason. That's not random. Stay with me because I'm going to explain what February 8 was used for, who feels it most, and, most importantly, how to move through it without reacting or losing ground. Let me tell you what February 8 was not used for. It wasn't a ritual night. It wasn't a summoning night. It wasn't a high energy operation. It was a pressure assessment night. In the occult, after major pressure windows, we evaluated outcomes. Who slowed down? Who questioned themselves? Who overcorrected? Who became inward? February 8 functioned like a checkpoint. If someone had already resisted previous pressure by staying calm, steady, consistent, this night tested whether that stability would hold without intensity. That's why it feels subtle. Pressure on February 8 doesn't scream, it whispers. It suggests maybe rest longer, maybe wait. Maybe now isn't the time. Maybe you misread things. None of those thoughts are sinful, but taken together, they store movement. We knew that if someone changed direction on a quiet night, they were easier to redirect later. If they stayed steady, access narrowed. This night was about drift, not attack. Not everyone feels this night, and that's important. February 8 doesn't affect people who are spiritually disengaged. It doesn't target those already stuck. It doesn't bother people who aren't moving. It affects why people who recently gained clarity, people who made firm decisions, were people who stopped explaining themselves, people who crossed a threshold quietly. If you've recently, ended a season, regained focus, stopped chasing validation, simplified your life, stabilized emotionally. You are exactly who this night checks. Because momentum without drama is the hardest thing to stop. So instead of confrontation, pressure asks a simple question. Will you second guess yourself when nothing obvious is wrong? Here's where people lose ground and don't realize it. They overreact internally. They start analyzing how they feel. They narrate heaviness. They look for explanations. They wonder if something is wrong. That inward turn is what pressure looks for. In the occult, attention was currency. The more someone monitored themselves, the more leverage existed. But people who ignored the sensation without suppressing it were the hardest to work with. They didn't fight. They didn't react. They didn't dramatize. They simply continued. And continuation breaks pressure faster than prayer fueled by anxiety. Let me be very clear here. Do naughty. Why cancel plans out of heaviness? I delay decisions you already made. Evaluate settled clarity. Explain what you're feeling to everyone. Do naughty. Fee add spiritual panic. Fee fast out of fear. Pray aggressively to fix the night. That feeds the wrong system. Instead, anchor to rhythm. Do what you already planned. Pray normally. Sleep normally. Speak less about sensation, more about direction. Pressure weakens when it isn't entertained. One reason people stumble on nights like February 8 is because peace doesn't feel spiritual enough. There's no emotional surge, no warning signal, no urgency, just steadiness. In the occult, steadiness was the enemy. Emotional believers were easy to track. Consistent believers were not. So pressure tried to provoke feeling, anything to pull attention inward. If you feel less emotional but more grounded tonight, that's not loss. That's authority settling. Here's something most people never connect. If February 8 passes without reaction, the following days often feel lighter. Not because something lifted dramatically, but because nothing stuck. Clarity sharpens. Sleep improves. Momentum returns quietly. That's how you know access failed. Pressure doesn't escalate when it doesn't work. It reroutes. And rerouting means you pass the checkpoint. Let me seal this message properly. You don't need to protect yourself tomorrow. You don't need to stay alert all week. You don't need to mark this night as special. Just keep going. If you feel calm, trust it. If you feel normal, honor it. If you feel steady, don't disturb it. The biggest mistake after nights like this is revisiting them. The system we use depended on reflection. Authority moves forward. I'll leave you with this truth. In the occult, we knew we lost when someone didn't change pace after quiet pressure. They didn't speed up. They didn't slow down. They didn't explain. They just continued. If that's you tonight, if you feel aware but not afraid, steady but not emotional, then this message wasn't a warning. It was confirmation. February 8 didn't stop you, it measured you, and you're still moving. That's the outcome we never wanted. Now let the night pass and keep going.